We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining another wonderful episode of Spotlight. Why is it wonderful? Because we have Juliet Stonehouse from the United Kingdom. We have Chietza from the United States. We have Zara from the United Kingdom, and you have me, the luckiest guy on the planet. Okay, I have these amazing guests today. So, I am the proud creator of Whisper Boy and the CEO of When Did You Know. Today, we want to talk about 10 ways a coaching podcast beats paying university fees abroad. A lot of people spend money. A lot of people spend their parents' money and spend it on education, right? And sometimes governments give them student loans to get a degree. So all of that to get a secure and stable job. And degrees still don't do what they are supposed to do, which getting people the education
where we have absolutely.
Hi, Eddie, how's it going? So yeah, as I was saying, people spend the money, spend the time, and still don't get what they are paying for. Okay, is there a way around it? Is there a smarter way? Yes, there is. We're going to be talking about that. That's why I've brought these amazing coaches to the program, and we're going to be using their experience. So, Zara, why don't we go ahead and give you the microphone so you can do what you do best, which is being Zara Camp. Zara, please go ahead.
So hi guys, I'm Zara Camp. I am the founder of Zara Pod, and I'm also the collaborative director with Whisper Boy. Myself and Whisper Boy work together to produce podcasters. So basically we're podcastologists. We work with sound, with voice, with people's visions, with people's dreams. And today we have with us three remarkable people, because where has he gone? So we have with us today African AI auntie Chiedza, and we also have with us Juliet. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you, Chiedza, first, because you're with us yesterday. It's nice for the continuous. The word I don't know right now.
Continuation, yeah.
We're good.
English is not my first language, so
No
mic
worries,
is over to us.
Good.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Chiedza Nyahuye, but I'm introducing myself as your African AI auntie. And my mission is to empower Africa's youth with digital skills and the confidence to build AI-powered businesses. So I do this as a coach and an international speaker, where I equip young innovators with tools to solve problems within their communities, create opportunities, and design the kind of future that they want to see. Because as we are all realizing, Africa's digital revolution has begun. It's already here. And together, we are a generation that is shaping it. So with that, I will hand it back to you, Zara.
Thank you very much, Chiedza. You have a launch coming up, which we're going to cover. Juliet, would you like to tell us who you are and what you do and why you're here?
Yes, my name is Juliet. I'm a business and life coach. I'm also a mindfulness teacher and EFT practitioner. I work with individuals, I work with teams to help with supporting them with really moving towards their own personal and career goals. And the way I do that is to give individuals the space and the time to figure out what it is they really want. Because a lot of the time, individuals have come to me with what they think is an issue, what they think is their block, what they think is their barrier. And after the first session, they find that what it is that they're trying to achieve is something completely different. So it's my role to guide, support, mentor, sometimes train individuals to move towards their chosen goals. So that's what I do.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Juliet.
you so
Sorry,
much.
Cyrus.
Yeah, please go ahead, Zara.
We have with us Mr. Global.media. Hello, Annie. Good evening. Oh, I think he's busy on a call.
Annie, you need to unmute.
He's not going to do it.
Annie,
he's on a call.
Annie, can you hear us? Okay, he's he either can't hear me or he's really good at ignoring me. I don't know. So anyway, did you see what I did there? Anyway, so we're gonna move on and ask Zara Camp what she does, and I know that the 5 podcasters that were inspired by Chiedza's movement have joined you, and you've been busy with them. Give us an update, please. What have you been doing with them? What's going on? Chiedza, you are a legend, by the way. Keep going, Zara.
Oh my God. So Chiedza, tomorrow is the launch of a very, very important individual within podcasting, because, you know, she was very afraid to start, and she saw one of your YouTube, I think it was the second one that we did together with myself and Cyrus. And you were talking about visions, and you were talking about the 700 applications that you did. And she said to me, Zara, I've known you for some time. How do I podcast? I want to have this bravery to sit and to speak. So she's got her mic. She's got her logo. It took time, because you know what it's like, Chiedza, when someone wants to start their own podcast, there are things that they have to consider. You only need a mobile phone. But when it comes to working with someone who's a podcastologist's responsibility is to make sure that your logo ticks every single box, right? And finally, what is the Fontaine? It went from another one to what is the Fontaine, and she's starting tomorrow. So tomorrow, 12 o'clock is her first ever episode. Then we have Frank. He is launching on Thursday next week. And then we have a football team, a Sudanese football team in Leicester. They're launching the week after. So that's 3 launches that we have within these 2 weeks, and trying to teach people how to do audio when, you know, it's still new. Podcasting, it's nice to hear sound that's clear, but it's always good to remember, wherever you start, at least start. So I think it took around 4 hours to go through audio with someone today, give and take. But no, yes. So thank you, Chiedza, for your inspiration to the people that are joining us these 2 weeks. So I'm so excited. I've just been hectically involved with all of them, as you know, Cyrus. And Juliet is joining us soon too. So yes, Juliet.
You're welcome, and it's great to see the ripple effects.
You notice I'm sitting here very quiet.
You have no choice. Sorry, Juliet.
It's too late now, Juliet. You're a part of us.
Zara springs these things on me all the time.
Yeah, that's the way Zara operates. Like, she throws you in the deep end and then says, "Go on, swim." So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Juliet. So Zara, you've been a busy bee, being the collaborative director of Whisper Boy. We are very, very fortunate to have you on board. The feedback I'm getting about you is that you sit down with people, you just increase the quality of the audio and the video sometimes, and you publish them. You just everything's in house basically. So you do everything under the same umbrella, and you're an all-rounder podcaster. I'm so proud of you. Now back to and thanks for the introductions, by the way. But by the way, guys, if you wish to find more about Zara Camp, please go to LinkedIn and simply find her there. Zara, Zara, C-A-M-P, Camp. And her website, which is going to be operational soon, is zarapod.com. So now we're going to be talking about Chietza soon because she's going to have her launch on Saturday at 8 p.m. UK time. Okay, so Saturday this week, 8 p.m. UK time. So that's going to be a phenomenal phenomenal launch because a lot of work has gone into it, and she's done a lot, and she's got a lot to actually share with us. She's been doing a lot for the past 21 years, and this journey didn't start yesterday. Exactly 21 years worth of work will be launched tomorrow. I'm proud of you, Chietza. Well done for the things you've been doing for not just one country or two, for a continent, and obviously it's not limited just to Africa. It's going to be covering. It's going to be helping the rest of the world as well. Now, what we are doing today is we're going to be talking about 10 ways a coaching podcast beats paying university fees abroad. A lot of people think paying for university fees or attending university fees, attending university courses abroad is the be all and end all of education, but in reality, it is not like that. We know people who don't have university degrees, but are still extremely successful. Okay, I'm not sure if any can hear me. Any, are you with us now? Or
Look at him, Uncle Annie. Stop it.
any, either you have to unmute or invest in a microphone, my friend. I'm not sure what's happening in the background.
I have to make myself laugh. Come on, Cyrus.
Okay, hi everyone. So we have an Annie Osong on board. He's the godfather of LinkedIn. His bio says fame expert. However, he does more than that. He's basically a publisher and helps you from A to Z, basically. So if you want to publish a book on Amazon, he's the right guy for you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and who is it in the market that you're actually helping these days?
I was just on a call with a new client. To give you an idea of what I do. Chietza, congratulations on the book, my friend. Well done, you. Chietza is one of my co-authors on the book. You see behind me, Lessons Learned from COVID. So it's one of the 10 authors in the book, right? So well done on doing your book. I'm glad you got the bug. It's a good thing, right? Everyone's something, those who write books tend to get the bug. But look, writing a book is not easy. So the person I was just talking to, for example, she has a vision for an anthology. That's her thing, to make her friends tell their stories. Much like we did in our book, Chietza, right? But she got 50 stories. I'm like, okay. Have you got them? Have you packaged them? Oh, but no, it could be. I'm saying, stop saying it could be. And then she wants to know what's the title. What's the title of the book? I'm like, I will guide you, give you some clues. But I'm not going to choose your title for you. So trying to work through the chaos in the author's mind, Cyrus, is part of what I do. The publishing side, they say the layout is the part I play. I got a team who do the editing, so sometimes I got a team who do the writing coaching. I'm doing more writing for my friends as well these days. So I have to just spend time writing books, which is rather weird. It's not my books. That's a weird thing, right? Of course, once the authors are, once we have structure and we have, a direction, we try and gain momentum. So try and move your book from where you are to the finishing line. That involves my editors. That involves many different people and the cover designers. Again, got those. My thing, of course, is to manage the process from my clients' perspective. That way, they are happy. They know where we are, and they can play their part. So the client does play an important part in everything we do. So publishing a book is what, that's, you think that's, even before publishing. So when an editor comes back with their content, my authors must rewrite the book effectively. Cyrus, now you're going through this with your book, right? So it's not the writing after editing normally worse than the writing itself, because you have to fit to a structure. This is what I spend my days doing, trying to manage anxieties, and manage chaos, manage life. That happens to my other friends. It happens to all of them, right? So eventually, I get the book, I get a finished manuscript to get on a bookstore. So that means essentially I tend to do I fix the layout. So I design the book using design software to have the book exactly as you want it to look and to come up to feel. It has to look as my authors envision. And so when all that works, then I begin to put the book on Amazon. But even that's the process. A lot of my authors keep reading the book, to make sure it's right. So I published a book yesterday, and a couple of days ago for my author. He was on holiday, in Bulgaria. He said, "Ready?" He's like, "Yeah, it's all right." I'm like, so I redid the whole book again. And then they come back yesterday. I'm like, read the book. The book's actually on Amazon now, so read the book. And yesterday I was like, oh, I'm tired. I'm jet lagged. Just read the book. I'm not doing anything until you do, right? He wants the book for our conference in Ghana on the 19th. I'm saying, hurry up, man. Get on with it, right? So now I chase people up because I'm an accountability partner in the process, because people do lose interest and get distracted. Anyway, so today he sent me, I think, 7 pages, so 7 screenshots of changes he wants made. So this is in his life. We're working on this launch event. So he wants to be a bestseller. So again, that's a process.
So my question to you is, from the moment a client comes to you till the moment they achieve a bestseller position on Amazon, on average, if all the stars align in an ideal world, how long does it take?
Piece of string. Alan's a piece of string, my friend. It depends. I explained my process because each bit takes time, right? So if the author is responsive and if the book is their priority, they would do everything quicker, right?
Yes.
They'll do the rewrite quicker. They will make choices quicker. They'll read the book. When I say to them, they have to read the book several times. Like when I get the book,
several times,
they have to read it. And so they read it slowly. What can I say, right? It takes time. Now, when people say, like I said, the book's on Amazon now. So now he's giving me all the changes today. Again, I can make the changes he wants. So that book would have taken about a week and a half to do.
A week and a half, yeah.
And then the whole launch thing comes next.
Yeah. So basically, is it fair to say, like, in a couple of months, someone can go from a non-author to an author?
Oh man, how big is a book?
Well, on average, something like your book, something like this book, because a lot of people are asking me, right?
150 pages, 152 pages.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this book. Again, shades that took a year, right? That took a long time. A group book is a whole different thing because I call it like herding cats. Trying to get cats to walk for the lead. And it just
depends. Depends. So it varies from one person to the next, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you do a group book, you're in trouble because everything takes long now.
Yes.
And it's not because people don't do it; it's because people try and do too much.
Yes.
So it can happen with individuals as well. So we get the book, we say, okay, you're good to go. And then also say,
Yeah.
oh, I want to add that. I want to add that. I want to change that.
Yeah.
I want to rewrite that. Be like, don't do it.
Yeah.
You told your story. Stick
I
to
understand. Thank you so much, Annie. Guys, if you just joined us, I know you guys are watching on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. If you just joined us, please remember that we are talking about 10 ways a coaching podcast beats paying university fees abroad. So we are learning ways in which we are investing in ourselves instead of spending our money in organizations that may or may not help us eventually get the job, get our dream jobs, right? So, but please remember, the purpose of this show is not to discourage you to attend your favorite universities and attend your favorite courses. Yeah, by all means, do what you deem necessary for your education. However, please remember, there are alternative ways, okay? So one of the most expensive products in the world is choice, okay? So if you have choices, so because usually people's choices are studying or not studying, okay? So there are alternative things that you can actually do. So one of them is creating a book. I've brought a publisher to the show for you. One of the best that you can find from the United Kingdom. We have Ennio Song. So you wanna use AI and create a business? I've brought Chiedza to you. You wanna optimize your business? I've brought Juliet Stonehouse to you, and also that's just one of the many things that Juliet does for you. So right now we also Susan, I'll come to you in a second, Susan. Okay, so we're going to start talking about 10 ways a coaching podcast beats paying university fees abroad. Okay, so leadership skills is one of those things that you can talk about in your podcast. Inspire, guide, and make tough decisions with clarity. Okay, so these are the things that are taught to you in a podcast done by Craig Groeschel. I hope I'm reading the name correctly. Leadership podcast. Okay, so Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. So that's an example of a podcast that teaches you leadership skills. You need to sit down or walk, listen, and listen to these podcasts that I'm going to explain to you about, right? So that will give you a structure. You're not copying them, right? You're not copying them. So you need to watch or listen to 4, 5, 6, 7 podcasts. And once you got that structure, create your own. Okay, so you're not going to be copying them. You're going to be inspired by them. So leadership skills is one of those things that you can spend your money in. Okay, if you want to go on a course and learn about leadership skills, by all means, definitely do it. But create a podcast about it, please. And how complicated is creating a podcast? How complicated is it? Zara will explain about it later. You can go to zarapod.com and go to LinkedIn, find Zara Camp, and she will explain it to you. The next thing you can do, instead of spending your money abroad, invest your money in yourself. Okay, so create a podcast about personal branding. What's a brand? As we always say, a brand is more than just your logo. A brand, a personal brand, is a promise. Okay, so here's my promise to you. I have created a Spotlight, SPODLIGHT. I always bring the best to you, the best experts I can find in the market. And the ones who actually give me the time of the day, of course. I'll bring them to the show for you. And you can benefit from their knowledge and enjoy their presence. Okay, so you can always say, I was in a podcast with Juliet Stonehouse. I was in a podcast with African AI Auntie. I was in a podcast with Ennio Osong or Zara Camp. Okay, and unfortunately, I was in a podcast with Cyrus. Oh, no, I'm joking. I'm a nice guy. So anyway, so now, so personal branding. So brand is a promise. Okay, so you create your brand and you promise to keep and sustain the same high level of quality, right? That's the brand. Okay, a brand is what people say behind your back and not in your face. That is your true branding, right? That's your true brand. A brand is the things you do, the things you like, and the things you promote, okay? And how you treat your customers. That is your brand, right? So your story sets you apart. Don't be trying to be someone else. Just be yourself, please. And people like authenticity. People love it. Share your story boldly and with authenticity. So the GaryVee audio experience is one of those, because he's into wine, isn't he? So he's a wine creator and wine seller. So he sells wine, and he also is a really good business coach. The GaryVee audio experience. He's done it instead of just be talking about it. A lot of experts in the market, they just talk about it. Okay, so you always need to find a coach that talks about it and does it. Okay, so people who just talk about a business, no, don't prioritize them. Learn from them, enjoy their presence, watch them, learn from them. However, if you need one-on-one coaching, go to someone who's got a business and running a business, has been running it for a while. As an example, Julia Stonehouse. You can go to her. Podcasting, go to Zara Camp. If you want to start your own business with the help of AI, go to Chietza. If you want to publish, right? If you don't have the faintest idea like where to start from, go to any song, book a 15-minute call, right? And he will give you a nudge in the right direction. Yeah, whether you go with him or not go with him, he will still guide you. That's why he's become famous on LinkedIn, because he shows you what you can do. I didn't dream of publishing until I met him. So there you go. So time management is another thing you can talk about, right? So you can invest in a podcast about time management, productivity hacks, and prioritization. You can take it to TikTok as well, right? Always cut your podcast bits, your favorite bits, and put them on TikTok, right? So productivity hacks and prioritization to become reliable and efficient. Who teaches you that? The productivity show. Okay, so Google the productivity show, and you will learn about that line of work, time management. Read about time management. Go to Brian Tracy's. Go to Amazon and buy a Brian Tracy book, right? And eat that frog, right? So sales strategies. So instead of spending your money on really fancy courses, right? Invest your money in yourself and in a podcast, right? A podcast is the best lead generator. So I get my best leads, my best clients on this podcast that we're actually doing now live with you, right? Why has this podcast become so famous and so popular? Not because I'm on it, because of the people I bring to it, right? So sales strategies. So turn no into a yes, right? No, it means next opportunity anyway, right? So no is the next. So turn no into yes. Get your clients to say yes more often than no. Okay, so learn what they need. Understand the psychology of sales. Okay, create a podcast about sales strategies. Learn something, sit in front of the microphone and say those words and record it. Then go to Zara Camp or someone who knows how to publish or improve the quality of your audio and turn it into a podcast, really. And then publish it, right? So that's all you need to do. As soon as you do the first episode, you become a podcaster, right? Before the first episode, you're not. As soon as you publish the first book, ask any Osang, he will tell you. As soon as you do your first podcast, you become a podcaster, right? And he's the best publisher that I know on LinkedIn. Guys, go to him for publish. I'm not and that wasn't a compliment, by the way. That is not true. Okay, so that's a true compliment. You know that. And I'm not lying. If I were giving you a compliment about your hair, Annie, that would be a lie. So so Annie Osong is a famous name in the publishing world. Okay, so next, marketing for small businesses. Please remember this bit. Teach low cost, high impact growth strategies, right? You can go to TikTok and go to the search bar and just search marketing for small businesses. People who do that already will come up. Remember, guys, you do not need to invent that science. It's already there. You need to learn it, make it your own, and just sit down in front of the microphone or in front of the camera and just create that show, right? You never know. And by the way, for those of you who keep saying, I don't have followers, nobody will listen to me, right? And remember, at the same time, a lot of followers are wandering around, wondering wondering where you are, right? You know what I mean? So imagine a classroom full of students, and imagine a teacher who's outside that student, right? This is what we are doing, guys. You become that teacher, and we will help you, and we put you in front of that classroom so you can teach that science that you know and you've learned, right? So it's not efficient if the students are not in the classroom and it's empty. Then you have a teacher who has no students, and it's not, and the other way around, right? It's not efficient if there's a classroom full of students and there's no teacher. So please become that teacher. We will help you get those students, okay? So make an impact. So Marketing Made Simple by Donald Miller, one of my favorite authors, will teach you this. Marketing for small businesses. In that beautiful book of his, he explains how marketing, how a business looks like an airplane, right? And it goes through different parts of the airplane, and each one of them correlates to one aspect of your business. So it's beautiful. You need to read that book. Donald Miller, Marketing Made Simple. Please Google that. The next one is team building. Guys, if you're not building a team, you're wasting your time. Okay? You're not here to succeed on your own. It is almost impossible to succeed on your own. A lot of people who say, I haven't achieved success, when they sit down with me and we have a deep conversation, before even they tell me they haven't created a team, I know they haven't created a team because they feel they're unsuccessful and they actually not achieve their potential, right? So you're not there to succeed on your own, right? Please do not call yourself a solopreneur, okay? So that grinds my gears. Every time I hear someone calling themselves a solopreneur, that means that person is really isolated and they don't know what they are doing, right? So please be an entrepreneur, and even better, please be a launcherpreneur, right? So launch something, right? Launch your podcast. What's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst do you think that's going to happen? Is it going to fail? Define failure. Tell me, how do you think it's going to fail? And if you think it's going to fail because you're not going to get 14,000 followers in 24 hours, no one gets that. Donald Miller didn't do that overnight. Tony Robbins didn't do that overnight. It takes a while. Be patient with it, please, and you will definitely succeed. You cannot be a podcaster for 2 years, consistently publish, and then say, well, I've been publishing for 2 years and I have become less famous ever since, right? I have been publishing for 2 years consistently and I'm getting less clients and I'm getting less viewers or listeners. That's impossible, right? So team building, create a team, help founders in your podcast, help founders create strong, loyal cultures. What's better than a customer? A loyal customer, right? What's better than a community? A loyal community. HBR, IdeaCast. That's the name of the podcast that teaches you number 6, team building. That is a skill and a half. Honestly, guys, that's probably the most important part of this show today. Team building. Create a podcast. And remember, if you're dreaming of studying abroad, leaving your country behind and going to a foreign land and spend a lot of money and then go back with a degree, something you can do at home, right? You can create a podcast and achieve all of your dreams. Because when you're talking through a podcast to people, you're talking to the hearts and minds. You're inside their head, literally, between these headphones, inside their head. What else do you want? You want people listening to you? Podcast is the way, right? How do people communicate with the podcast? They listen to it, don't they? So in some cases, they watch it. So the next one, guys, if you want to create a podcast, this is one of the most popular ones. Financial literacy for entrepreneurs. Cover cash flow, money management, and growth as 3 important subjects. Cover these subjects: cash flow, money management, and growth for a company, for a business, for a startup, right? So the Ramsey Show is the one you need for number 7. The Ramsey Show will help you, okay? So that was number 7. Number 8, scaling a business. You want advice on how to manage, how to improve a business? Yes, you can download audiobooks. Yes, you can listen to podcasts. But you got someone like Juliet Stonehouse. Go to her, find her, Google her, ask her a question. She will answer your questions, right? So if your business is struggling, by the way, go to her. She will help you. So if you want a podcast on this subject, Masters of Scale with Reid Hoffman, definitely download this podcast. Go to Spotify. You will find them there, right? Masters of Reid Hoffman. That was number 8. So if you talk about scaling a business, that means improve and increase the amount of money a business does and expand their operations. Who doesn't want that? Everyone wants that, right? Everyone wants to expand. So scaling a business, number 8. Number 9 now, work-life balance, right? Now, this is a polarizing idea, right? So it splits the room into halves, right? Into 2 halves. Half think you cannot succeed if you are focusing on life, on work-life balance. The other half says, yes, you can. Just create a work-life balance. So whatever the idea might be, create a podcast for it, okay? You cannot not succeed. It's impossible for you to not succeed. I have had a few podcasts. They failed. Some of them are still working, but I'm not crying. I'm happy. I'm smiling, right? Not everything will work, right? Some of your podcast episodes might be more popular than the rest of them, okay? But regardless of that, please do not judge your podcast episodes either. Let people do that, right? Don't do their job for them. Their job is to listen to it and judge it and give you stars out of 10 or out of 5, right? So create a podcast about work-life balance. You will get a lot of listeners, I promise you. Teach founders to win in business and in life. The Tim Ferriss Show. This will teach you that. This podcast, The Tim Ferriss Show. So work-life balance, if you want to learn about it or how to talk about it, go to Tim Ferriss Show. And finally, number 10, innovation and adaptability. Guide clients to embrace change and future-proof their business. So for this one, with number 10, innovation and adaptability, you can Google or you can find the Future of Work podcast, right? Guys, remember, we are here talking about how to find ways to create podcasts. And why are we doing this? Because a lot of you are saying, I have spent money on courses. I have lived abroad for years. I have gone through all of those difficulties. And now I'm struggling to find a job. Now I'm working in a restaurant. Not that working in a restaurant is a bad thing. I've worked in a restaurant. I've worked for a hotel. I've worked for a restaurant, and I've cleaned tables, and I still do if I have to. And there's no shame in working. Actually, it is a life-changing experience. You learn how to deal with customers. You learn how to take feedback on board, right? So, yeah, the point I was trying to make is, if the intention was to clean tables, why did you go to another country and spend all that money and got a degree, right? So, and sometimes the degree isn't the problem. The interview skills is the problem, right? So, which is the bridge between getting the degree and getting the job. Anyway, so that's a horse of a different color. That's a different kettle of fish, as they say. So, now, I hope what I explained about makes sense to you guys. And if it doesn't, please go to the comments section, ask your questions, okay? Either I will answer them, or I will ask the experts to come and answer them, okay? So please remember, I'm just a moderator of the show. My knowledge is very limited. And the things I've learned in my life so far has taught me that I don't know anything yet, okay? So that's the reason why I learn every day, every single day. Now, later in the show, we noticed that Susan joined us. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. And recently, we've had the pleasure of meeting you on LinkedIn, both me and Zara. Please tell us, what is it that you do, and what are your aspirations? And please just say hi, and don't be shy, say hi.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Good day, Mr. Any, our godfather of LinkedIn. Positivity. I'm so happy, and I'm so honored to be here, because it just, me being here today makes me feel like is an answer to a question that I've been asking myself for a few months. There's a question I do ask myself every month, like every day, and it makes me shed a lot of tears. I do ask myself, am I going to succeed? Like, I ask myself that. I learn every day. I go to virtual events, and I still see myself as someone that doesn't know anything. So most times I'll ask myself the question and I will not get any answer. But today, me seeing myself in the midst of professionals, expertise, that alone has really given me the answer to the question that I've been asking myself for the past few months. So, Zara, I'm so grateful. Mr. Cyrus, Whisper Boy, I'm so grateful for being here. Mr. Any, I'm so grateful, because I've been listening to your advice you have been giving on every Friday show, and I always implement it to my daily activities. Yes, I'm Susan from Nigeria, without West Africa, I think so. And I'm a sales and email marketer. And to be honest, I've been in this industry for 1 year now. And I am so grateful for being here. And also, I am also being inspired by Zara podcast that I do listen to every day. Like, there are sometimes I listen to her podcast like 2 times. One particular topic, I'll listen to it like 2 times, 3 times each and every single day. And it has really impacted so much in me. Like, I learned a lot from it. So that alone has really inspired me. And I listen to other podcasts too. Yeah, I'm a salesperson, an email marketer, and also with a few background in lead generation, cold calling, cold DMs, and all that. And I bring revenues to companies. You understand? So thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. It's a pleasure to be in your presence, Susan. You are such a lovely, lovely person, and same as any, you're a sweet, sweet person. And LinkedIn, I mean, on LinkedIn, I rely on people like Enyo Song, yourself, Chietza, Zara, and Juliet, and I've learned on LinkedIn ever since I joined. I've learned on LinkedIn, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of fantastic people. When someone asks me like, can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like, well, I can't personally, but I know someone who can. So again, guys, if you have a book idea, or if you have a script, a manuscript which is ready to be published, go to any Song and ask him to help you. Any you won't say no to them to give him advice, would you? Oh, you need to unmute, Any.
No, I'll happily talk to anyone who has questions. Of course, I will. You know,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think giving value is important, helping people. You know, and because they're the ones who, in the end, buy from you anyway, right? You know, I'm hopefully helping people as best I can. Yeah, and shades and sings and tell stories. I'm not that good. I'm boring. So, you know, if you want to talk, my friends, talking is free. The work costs money.
Yeah, guys, that's Enyo Song. So he's so sweet, and if you're diabetic, please look away. That's how sweet Enyo Song is. So Chietza. Now we're gonna be talking about Chietza's launch, which is going to be imminent. Really, it's on Saturday, isn't it? So in terms of the questions I had for you about Chietza. There you go. All right. So we talked about the cost of studying and, or should I say, investing in a course, in an education. Obviously, it's not guaranteed. Okay. Sometimes it's like gamble-like behavior to invest in something. Now, imagine people invest in something, right? This is how volatile the market is now. So imagine investing in a course and learn a skill, right? And then AI comes and wipes it off. What just happened? That's how shocking it can be sometimes, right? So that's the reason why we always recommend to people to create a podcast, whatever they do, whatever skill they've got, create a podcast. That's your safety net all the time. Okay. Worst case scenario, you can be a podcaster. However, I personally don't deal with people who find podcasting as a safety net. I always talk to people and deal with people who find podcasting as the main source of income, as the sales tool. Okay, so these are the things a podcast can be, and it is if you do it right. Okay, so now let's talk about rethinking money as energy. So that's one of your talking points all the time, every event that we go to, and a part of your book as well. So please talk to our audience about your book, and also a little bit about rethinking money as energy.
Sure. Thank you, Cyrus. So the book I wrote is called Global Degree African Roots. Ask me how to start an AI-powered business to fund your education. The reason why I came up with that, if we, to answer actually part of the question that you already started with, Cyrus, of, okay, you go to school, you study for this skill, and then you wake up and realize that AI has taken it over, right? I can understand in this more dynamic, volatile world, that is what's happening. But the way that I will have been approaching it, even with my nieces and nephews from Zimbabwe, was okay, whatever you want to study, we need to reverse engineer. Where are you going to work? Who is going to hire you? What kind of income are you thinking that you're wanting to make in order to be able to take care of yourself? Because when I went to university, I was the first one in my family to go to university. Nobody had that conversation with me. It was like, she got a scholarship, you can go. Yeah, she's in university, right? But nobody gives us that talk of, okay, now that you've got this degree, what are you going to do with it? Who do you go and approach? And so a perspective that I did learn about 4 years ago while working for SV Academy, which is a company that helps people who are transitioning their careers into the tech industry. But funny enough, most of what we teach people is how to retell your story and retell how you can solve problems. What problems have you solved in the past? What qualities you bring to any situation that you're in? How do you deal with stressful situations? All of those human elements are universal, whether you work with AI tools or not, right? Those are valuable qualities for building any business. Because even though, like with Susan, you're in marketing and sales. In a way, I am as well. I do prospecting as well every day for a fintech company. And so a lot of times whenever I'm looking at people, okay, we want to invest this money into this degree. And I know for a typical 4-year degree in the United States, it's at least $300,000, right? And I know in my book, I actually break it down for, let's say, imagine what you could do with a $300,000 investment if you actually stayed back in your own country and even found a much cheaper way to do it online through like courses like Coursera or Udemy, get the same certification, but channel that money into being able to actually build something on the ground where you are at home. Because I know, yes, we have been well drilled into our brains for decades through our colonial education that you're not somebody unless you are a doctor, somebody, or you've got some degrees, and that's what gives you status. But I know so many PhD people who are unemployed or broke or don't have jobs. And so it doesn't make sense. And another challenge that we have, especially in a lot of African countries, whatever degrees we studied for, the economies we live in cannot give us the jobs that we think we should be getting with that degree. So what is needed more is more of the entrepreneurial spirit of, okay, let me create my own job, right? Let me create my own income. Because it still disheartens me when I see hundreds of thousands of university students flooding the streets, and then the next day they have to put food on the table. So they're selling tomatoes and secondhand clothing. That isn't the dream that we thought would happen. So advice now, even I'm talking to parents and children who want to go to university, reverse engineer whatever you want to study and invest in, because we need to be smarter about how we use our money, right? A lot of COVID actually opened up a huge online platform for everybody globally. So you don't even need to leave your living room to get a degree. You can study what somebody in Tokyo and Guatemala and Argentina, and let alone the US, right from your laptop at home, right? So those savings is then when you start thinking, okay, what can I better use this money for? What problems can you solve? Because that's basically the root of every business. What problem are you solving and how much are people willing to pay for it? And where the advantage comes when you're using AI tools, where it makes it much faster and easier for you to set that up online, and even just from your cell phone, right? I know some people have been wondering, Chesa, how have you been making all these recordings and posting them on LinkedIn? I use my smartphone. They say you can even create movies from your smartphone. So you don't need to have advanced technologies to be able to do that. So I'll pause at this point and send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Chietza. the author of the creator of African AI Auntie. So another point I wanted to cover is you discuss building instead of just paying, right? Can you please expand on that a little bit?
You'll need to clarify that and give me a bit more context. When you say in terms
Yeah,
of
so
building instead of paying,
yeah, so building a business with digital skills rather than just paying for a business. So for a course or education, because people usually feel that once they finish their course, they will be an expert, right? So so it's not guaranteed that once you finish the course, you will definitely be able to build. Okay, so because paying doesn't guarantee building, right? So what's your advice for people who think that just paying is going to give them the skills, but how are they going to build? That's the question. So what's your approach on that?
So I'm putting this in the context of continuous learning, right?
Yeah.
Because even though I got my degrees, okay, dating myself, 21 years ago was when I finished my master's degree. I've continuously found myself ways to continue to invest in developing my skills, developing my knowledge, developing my perspectives. Even in the last 4 years, I went back to school in a way through a boot camp, right? Which taught me on how to do tech sales, use different software, different technologies so that I'm employable in the current economies. And also in a sector which pays you a lot more money than what I was earning managing restaurants, right? So again, it's always about thinking that, okay, in my current living situation, what opportunities are there around me that can elevate me to get into the jobs that I really want to get into? So even let's say, I know I worked with over 120 students who I help them transition from whatever they're doing, whether they're a teacher or an accountant or even a medical professional. And they wanted to figure out, how can I get into the tech industry and software development industry? And a lot of it wasn't so much that they needed to learn new tools per se. Those are handy, but every company has its own tech stack, right? It was more of, how do I tell my story in a way that they can see me as somebody who can work with them and help them grow and promote their business, right? Because as much as they say, oh, everybody needs to do coding and data analysis, yeah, but somebody needs to sell the product. That's the money, right? And so I know they call them sales development representatives. They're usually told they're kind of like on the bottom rung of the whole tech industry stack, but they're basically the lifeblood. Because if you don't have sales funnels coming in of people that you can convert into customers, then your business doesn't exist. You can have the greatest product in the world, but if nobody knows about it or knows how to use it, it doesn't make sense. So when you're talking about, okay, building versus paying, yes, we told, okay, pay for a certain degree, you get your certificate, you're good to go. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. Even as you're saying that, oh, okay, go to university and by the time I graduate, AI is taken over. That's how fast things are changing. I even 7 years ago when I was still in Zimbabwe, I was told that you need to learn something new every hour to keep up with the world.
Oh, wow.
Every hour. And that was 7 years ago. Imagine now. That's not like, thank goodness I got all these tech tools with the AIs and the chat GPTs and everybody. I just put it in and they give me the answers in a lot of ways, or help me fast track how I work through information and absorb information and use it. So when it talks about building, I like to practice what I preach, right? So here I'm saying, let me show you how to start up your own AI-powered business. That's exactly what I did. That's how I wrote my book. Yes, I wrote it mostly myself, but the designs, all of this that you can see, even just my background, is all ChatGPT and Canva, right? So there are tools that I've been using and even accessing where do I sell my goods? So I know a lot of people just go to Amazon, but I know the whole African continent can't access Amazon. So I'm using Gumroad, right? So I had to educate myself on that. Like, okay, I'm creating this product, but how can the people I'm creating it for access it? right? So those are things that I also had to keep in mind. Even with my audiobook, it's now been uploaded by the voice in audio to be on 33 different platforms. Yes, it does take about a month for them to send me the direct links. But before I was only knew of Amazon and Audible. But actually I realized these other platforms pay me better. so it's again, it's constantly researching and understanding what are the dynamics and being open to learning. That's the foundation of all that I'm saying.
Thank you. Now, I sometimes talk to people who've been overseas as students or exchange students, and when you sit down and talk to them, they'll and ask them how much did your education cost you, and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I was really curious. I was like, don't you know how much the whole thing cost you? And they say, yeah, but there are other things. I'm like, what other things? What do you mean there are other things? And they're like, yeah, well, the course itself like cost, I don't know, 50,000, right? But I had flights to pay for.
Yep.
That's the cost. I had rent to pay for. When I was living with my mom and dad, I had no rent. Okay, nobody was charging me rent, and I didn't have to. And there is some sort of moral cost as well, because of this guy I was talking to, he said my sister had to go to a like cheaper school because of my costs.
Yep.
So because of his costs, the sister had to go to a lower kind of tier kind of school, cheaper kind of school, and that had caused them guilt. And I explained to him, no, your family could still afford to send your sister to good school. Maybe it wasn't as fancy as you wanted to. Actually, you would have wanted to send her to, but you should. There are people who can't even have an education. There are people in the world who are deprived from education. Okay, so yeah, there's that moral cost as well. Okay, so what is the alternative of these costs, Chietza? Because when people are now thinking, all right, so Chietza's saying, because we have to look at it from different perspectives, different points of view, right? Not everyone agrees with us, not everyone disagrees with us, but we have to be fair, and we have to be mindful of different ways of thinking, right? So some people are saying, well, yeah, it's an investment, and we are sending our kids to the best universities in the world, and there's a cost associated with that. But on the flip side of it, we have you who says, no, that's not a good idea. So what is the alternative that you are bringing to table, Chietza? Why should people listen to you? Why should they buy your book? Why should they follow your line of thought? What is it that they should pay attention to when they listen to you, when they watch you on the stage, dedicating your time and energy to them? What is it that they should get out of your work? What is the heart of your work, basically? What is the alternative?
Sure, Cyrus. So my experience of living abroad is very different from the majority. 30 years ago, I won a full ride scholarship to finish high school in Hong Kong, China at an international school. So all of my costs were paid for, right? Including flights, pocket money, all of that was taken care of. And then the same thing happened for 7 years in the United States. And so basically my parents never paid a cent for 9 years of my life, right? But I know that's a very small portion of people who get access to that. Though there are scholarship programs, if you do want to do the research and find ways to lower the costs and the impact it has on your family having to sacrifice so much to send you abroad, that is an option. I'm not doubting it. I was even on scholarship committees for a while. So there is that aspect. Yet, in looking at the context that we're in now, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, post-COVID, right? The flourishing of online accessibility has changed the game completely, right? So you don't have to even leave your home. You can get everything online. I know as teenagers, believe me, I've got my nieces and nephews who argued with me about this. Like, no, but I want to go to university and experience university life. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that, but there's a cost, right? Even the reason why I wrote this book was actually triggered by my niece, who's currently studying in India, who in February sent me a WhatsApp message and said, Auntie, how can I make money online? Because the reality is, for most international students, when you study abroad, you are limited or can't even make money wherever you go to because of visa issues. So you're restricted as to, you can either work on campus for like a minimal bit of money or not allowed at all. So you're very dependent on basically your home to supply you with money if you're not on a full ride scholarship. So in thinking those details through and understanding that, as much as we've been told, yes, it is great to go and be on university campuses and you mature and grow in so many different ways, you can still do that at home. And even in saving that money, investing it in creating your own businesses as you can, then you can use that to travel the world in ways that you want to travel, right? In a much cheaper and much more affordable way. So that's my main thing of trying to find ways to manage the costs. Because yes, I do understand, like the example you gave, Cyrus. If one son or daughter is the one who's focused to be sent to university and the family's resources are mainly channeled there, it does also impact the siblings and the rest of the family and the sacrifices they have to make in order for that one person to succeed, right? So if there's a way that we can actually switch that mentality, even from the parents, that you don't have to send them abroad. They can access it online. They can still even find jobs online. I know there are plenty of freelancers who are in universities, who are working on Fiverr and Upwork, who have clients in different countries and different continents, right? So we need to think differently, because I know even in Zimbabwe, say, oh, if you're going to university, you can't work. You need to focus only on your studies. Well, actually, the US system is different. I actually had to work on campus at least 20 hours a week. That was my pocket money, right? So I see that mentality as well, that, back home, it's like, oh no, they need to just be protected and they just need to focus. I was like, well, actually, they learn a lot more skills that they'll use for jobs if they are working. They're interacting with people. They're learning about themselves. They're learning how to solve problems, even verbiage of how to talk to people. Those are valuable experiences as well. But anyway, I'll pause now because I'm digressing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chietza. Um, again, I'm going to clarify. I have brought these experts to the show so you guys learn and understand the fact that a university degree is not the only way. There are alternatives. There are alternatives. Einstein was homeschooled, right? So you don't necessarily have to go to an establishment and write. In terms of knowledge, it's so accessible, right? These days, not knowing is much harder than knowing. That's how accessible knowledge is. You have to try really hard to not learn these days because you're bombarded with information, right?
Yep.
Unless you shove wine corks in your ears and walk with blindfolds on. I don't know. You're gonna be exposed to a lot of knowledge, right? So it is really easy to learn these days, right? So
Yes.
we are learning. We're learning on this show. You have come to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. You're just looking at the screen and look at these experts teaching you stuff, right? It is easy to learn. Okay, so the important question is, are you implementing the knowledge, right? These days, lack of knowledge isn't the problem. I promise you, it's not knowing, it's not doing, right? So, in business, you need to be a human doing. When it comes to emotional intelligence, right? Yes, still be a human being. We never stop being human beings. So the point is, a university degree will not necessarily and automatically get you a job. What you apply does, right? So if you really insist on getting a job, create a podcast, which will be, in a way, an extension of your CV. Okay? No employer will look at you and say, oh, this guy's got 200 episodes of podcast. We're not going to employ him. He's boring. No. They're gonna look at you differently, right? They're going to look at you in a different light because you're consistent. You are creator of something, right? What as an employer, we would want to work with you. We would want to work with you. Me and Zara want to work with you. So there are solutions, right? There are solutions to your financial status. If you are making money and you're successful, nobody can stop you from being more successful. Create a podcast for your business. Either do it yourself or get your member of staff to do it, right? So a podcast can help a business. A podcast can help a graduate who just finished their studies, right? And it's really ideal if you have an MS or if you have a BA or BS and you want to go and get an MA or MS or your PhD. In those gap years or gap months between each degree, create a podcast, right? And if you don't know what to do, create a podcast. If you don't know what brand to make, some people say, I don't know what brand to make. Turn yourself into a brand. How? Create a podcast. Create a website. Offer your services to the world. If you have a CV, who doesn't? If you have a really good CV, create a podcast, put your CV on it. Make it accessible, make it easy, right? Put it on there. Be creative about it. The employer will look at it and they're going to go, wow, look at this one. It's not just on a piece of A4 size paper. This guy or this girl is just respecting us, respecting the employer, right? People love being respected. Who doesn't, right? So if you feel the employers are not favoring you, be different. When you go above and beyond, people go above and beyond for you, right? Now, we are all about solutions. So in this podcast, we are just talking about solutions. You're still the one who is or isn't going to do it, right? Speaking of solutions, let's have a conversation with Zara. Now, Zara, you when people come to you, some of them know about podcasts and some of them don't, right? How can you help each? The ones that know, the ones that don't know. So how is it you help each category? Please answer this separately so it won't be confusing to people. So the ones that already know how to podcast and the ones who don't know how to podcast. Please give us an inclusive response, please. Go ahead.
So those who know, I ask them to send me what they've already done, what they've already produced, right? So if they've had a podcast or they've heard a podcast and they like it, I ask them why they like that podcast or what they use to produce the podcast that they have. Now, the reason I do that is because if you already know what you're doing, then why are you coming to me and asking me about the analytics side of things? Because podcast is not really focusing on just the analytics of things. It's focusing on the storytelling. Those who don't know normally come to me and say to me, well, it looks very complicated. So what I do is I arrange a Zoom call with them. I share my screen. I show them the apps that are available, the apps that are free. Like I was saying to you, Cyrus, the other day, Audacity and Riverside are two things that are very free. Like Chiedza said earlier on, you do not need to have a laptop. You do not need to have the latest software to be able to use CapCut or to be able to record on your phone. Nowadays, everyone has a 5G phone or a phone that, you use it to record. So the idea is to know those who know what they're using now and those who don't know what they understand about it. So it's completely two different things. Those who know, let's have a chat about it. Those who don't know, why are you interested in this? So it's about trying to understand the reason as to the intricates. I look at the details in things rather than just the whole picture. Because to be a beautiful podcaster, you have to make sure there are things that you need to cover and understand. So that's it in short, Cyrus. I'll hand over the mic
Thank
to
you.
you.
And thank you so much. And another thing that people usually say is that, well, I don't know the tech. I have no idea how the tech works. What's your response to those people?
Let me show you how easy it is. I don't think it's about how complicated. There is tech that's complicated, and if you're going to complicate something that's not so complicated, it's going to add more of the pressure on. So if you don't understand what tech is used, I suggest you contact myself or Cyrus, and we can walk you through the most simplest thing. The most simplest thing is there are a lot of different apps. You don't need to. Cyrus always mentions you should at least know 20. I don't believe, Cyrus, you need to know 20. I think to podcast, you need to at least start with 3, right? So your visual, if you're going to be a visual podcaster, your audio, and then you need to understand your platforms. The reason I'm saying platforms is there is no point of just publishing on Spotify and waiting to have listeners come in. You have to promote it over different platforms. You may want to promote it on Apple, on Amazon. You only need an email to do that. It doesn't really cost much, but you have to understand if you're going to produce a podcast and you have the topic, it's about promoting that podcast and knowing where to promote that podcast. So it's the 3 elements: your audio, your visual, and your promotion. So you need 3 apps. Your audio is Audacity, your visual is Riverside, and your promotion is TikTok. And everyone understands how to use TikTok. You can go on to lives. Everyone knows how to use Audacity. It's not so complicated. Riverside AI cleans everything for you. You don't have to, go to Adobe Audition and spend 6 months learning about it.
Absolutely, thank you. And just to clarify, that when I said 20 things, what I meant was, and that, I remember that session. So those of you who just joined us, Zara was talking about the minimum things you need to know about the software. So let's say I want to talk about, I want to use Adobe Audition, and which is a software that people use for recording their voice and manipulating the audio and recording it and saving it on the hard disk and then publishing it, right? So what I meant was, please don't be afraid of something as complicated as Adobe Audition. You don't need to know everything about Adobe Audition. All you need to do is just learn about 20 buttons or 20 menus in it, right? So there's a general rule, right? So if you know 20 things about a software, you're already in, right? You don't need to worry about learning all 600 menus. Just learn 20 and you can build up on it, right? That's what I meant when I said. But what you said also has merit and is a valid point. So those 3 things that you need to know. The first one is
audio.
How to record in a healthy manner, right? So in a decent audio. That's number 1. Number 2,
visual.
Okay, so how to look normal in front of the camera, and not being in the middle, sorry, not being at the bottom, not being at the top, so the audio, and also, it's just not about, when we say video, it's not just about the camera. It's about your titles. If it's a ticker, which is you look at that bottom of the screen, that's a ticker.
Yes.
The word whisperboy.com is passing through the screen at the bottom of the screen, right? Or as Zara calls it, downstairs. So do you remember that? I remember that one. So,
I don't know the terminologies yet completely. Got told about door the other day. Said, what's a door, Cyrus? Explain a door.
Door. It's a digital audio workstation.
Yeah, I know now, yes.
Door.
I asked ChatGPT.
So, and the third thing was promotion, right? So you promote yourself on platforms like Instagram and TikTok
Facebook.
And Facebook, of course, and YouTube Shorts.
And YouTube
many
Shorts,
people,
yes.
many people miss out on YouTube Shorts, right? So don't forget, YouTube Shorts are a part of YouTube, and YouTube is a part of Google. Don't forget, Google is already built in YouTube,
Yes.
right? So they're interconnected, aren't they? They are one and the same. So thank you, Zara, for that fantastic explanation. So we're going to go to Annie in a few moments. And so Chietza, are you going to talk us through what's going to happen on Saturday at 8 p.m. UK time? Your launch.
Thank you, Cyrus. So yes, I am inviting people already on LinkedIn. It's going to be hosted as a LinkedIn Live, and then of course we'll find ways to do the connections. I know Cyrus is going to help me with all of that. We'll regroup afterwards. But Saturday, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, which will be 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Pacific. I will be doing a launch about African AI Auntie, basically sharing with you why I created African AI Auntie, why African youth at this point in time, my passion behind it. I'll be celebrating and sharing about the 2 products I have so far online in terms of my ebook, Global Degree African Roots, and then also the audio book. And actually, I would like to share, we'll confirm this with you, of course, Cyrus, but to share an audio chapter, which is about 5 minutes long, so people can get a bit of an experience of what they'll be in for in the audio books. And then also we'll be talking about how I am working with Cyrus and Zara to become a podcaster. So those are the different aspects that we'll be going through. One of our guest speakers will be Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, who is my coach. I call her my doula because the things she's been able to, shall I say, tactically catalyze out of me in the last few months has been phenomenal. So I believe we all need that kind of a person in our lives, even though things have been sitting within us. Like I said, for myself, it started 21 years ago, and I finally said, okay, I'm ready. And I called Dr. Ava in March. I said, okay, let's go. And then next thing, I thought I was just going to write a book. Oh, wow. It's so much more than that. And so, yes, that's what you're in for. And it's also just a place to share our stories, right? And encourage each other and, and uplift each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Dr. Ava, Zara, please remember, we need to get Dr. Ava on the show as well, because she's one of those inspiring individuals who's helped Chietza. And now we're going to go to Annie. There's a spider behind you.
No,
Zara.
stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm joking. So, Annie, there are people who have book ideas, right? But let's say the word, okay, they are scared, they are worried, okay? They are worried it may not be what it needs to be. Or perhaps they might not have created a fantastic book yet. That's why they don't go for publishing. Or they may fear being mocked by their readers, or they might get bad reviews online. So what is your advice to those people? Surely you have had people like this in the past, right? And you've published more books than I have had warm meals. So so please tell us, what is your advice for those people who are a little bit worried about approaching a publisher and saying, okay, I've got a book idea, or I've got a book. How would you help them? How would you ease them into the process? What would you say to them?
I hope I haven't published more books than you've had hot dinners. Otherwise, you must be starving, my friend. You must be proper hungry, right? I'm getting there. So there's a lot more than last year, and a lot more coming ahead. Look, wait. People have all sorts of hang-ups when it comes to, let's say, publish their book, I suppose. Many have a problem writing the book in the first place. Many will try and hold on to what they know. But I think, it's in that change of mindset, change of mind frame, that you get to do what Chase has done, which is essentially find a way to tell your story, tell the stories you want to tell. No, but more importantly, your book's about helping people to solve a problem or problems. Yeah, it's when you come to terms with that reality and realize that holding on to what you know, holding on to what you're gifted to share about. It's almost a crime against humanity. And there's no way of saying it. It's saying you have to find the confidence. The goal has to be to help people, and we haven't got forever to do that, right? And we have to use the time we have. The time is now, my friends. If you've written a book already, then that's even more crazy to hold on to it. If you've written a book already, then you have to get it out. Otherwise, it might just die on your computer with you, and that would be a tragedy, right? So I do paint my friends this picture of their last, the final chapter is what my friend Scott calls it. And I guess you looking at God and saying, what do you say what do you say when God says, like, I gave you that gift, I gave you that knowledge to share, I gave you those people that you could help? What would you say? Oh, I was too scared. No, of course not. No. So I think we have to see our books as a gift to the world. Of course, it can be our legacy, it can be our income, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that we have a purpose for writing a book, and the purpose is to help people. So we must deliver our solution for people. If we don't publish, and who's gonna learn from your book? No one. So this is the conversations I have with my friends. Of course, there's fears, and fears manifest in different ways, Cyrus. Some fears, fears they manifest as chaos, as what's the word I'm looking for? Almost denial of what the issue is. That is fear, really. So playing the game, I find ways to coax my friends away from their fears into seeing the purpose of the book. It's only when you have that sense of purpose that you can do what Chase is doing, which is your book would fail if you publish it and do nothing with it. If you just leave it on there to do nothing, right? Whereas if you live your book, if you truly believe in it, if you truly see that the world needs your solution, and so the way they say Africa needs AI for sure, then you're driven to start somewhere. I didn't say you're going to succeed. I said you have to start somewhere. But every day that you wake up and talk about your book is a win. Success is just having a book and having people read your book. You don't make much money from selling book copies, Sarah. So you make money, you don't make that much money, right? You're lucky if you get £2 or £3 a book that you sell. So it's about finding the ways to reach your audience. And that's not always selling books. That's leveraging your book. So I do a room book to business. It's about turning your book into a business, essentially. And so that can mean the services you start on the back of the book. It could mean you going to the public speaking. It could mean you doing podcasts, as you mentioned already today, right? So it's leveraging your book, and that's where you will see the results, because you see the impact on more people. That's
absolutely. Annie, if I didn't have a working relationship with you and I didn't know you for as long as I have, would you have come to my podcast? If you didn't know me, if I hadn't created the podcast, would there be a podcast for you to come on?
No.
So,
If I didn't know
you know,
Chaser was a nice person, then I'll tell you when someone messaged me yesterday
mhm.
and said, "Can you help me?" On my WhatsApp, I'm like, no. So who are you? What do you wanna? Who are you? And I was impolite. It didn't answer my question, and then started telling me what they do and why I should talk to them so they can help me. You can imagine what I said next, Cyrus. It started with a P and the other words off, and they were blocked and reported. That's what happens when you cold call or cold contact people these days. You risk the chance that if I don't know who you are, then people tend to block and report because we can.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Cold market is the worst place for selling, right?
Mm.
People want to sell you an idea, right? So in your case, the idea was you have to help me, but they didn't even explain to you why or what was it they needed help with, right? So, um, so just to summarize what you said already, when you're trying to create a book, right? Um, when you're trying to write a book, you need to remember, don't worry about being mocked, because that means you are worried about the way you sound or the way you look, because that means your focus is on you. Shift the focus and put it elsewhere. Where should you take it? On your target market, on your audience, right? People don't come to the market to see you. People come to the market to see your solution,
I agree.
right?
I
And
agree.
then decide if they want to buy it or not, right? So are you a solution or are you a solution provider, right? So you have to be either a solution or a solution provider, right? Otherwise, the focus will be on yourself, and you will have to go through a different kind of depression, okay? Because after a while, you don't even you even forget why you started the journey, right? So, I had a client who was worried about going on LinkedIn audio rooms. Back in the day when LinkedIn had audio rooms only, right? So obviously I'm not going to mention the names, but she said to me, I have a stutter, and I said to her, well, I have a tiny bit of stutter myself. So and she said, well, I have a stutter, and I'm worried people would mock me. I said, well, you have the courage to create a podcast, and you've done a few sessions, right? Just carry on. You don't even have to start. Don't stop. And then she went to Go Brunch. She went to Instagram. She went to, I don't know, she went to different platforms and did more. That's what I suggested to her. I said, if you're scared, do more, right? So she went to TikTok, and she had 2 phones. And I asked her to put both phones in front of her on both platforms, on TikTok and Instagram at the same time. And the magic happened. People were jumping from Instagram to TikTok. People were jumping from TikTok to Instagram on both her platforms, right? We created a competition, and we asked one question on each platform, and we asked people to answer the question on the other platform and find her, right? So a lot of she managed to get more followers. She became more popular despite the fact that she had a stutter. And I explained to her and I proved to her that stutter isn't the problem. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on your target market, because they don't mind you having a stutter. You're not the only person. You're not the first or last person who has a stutter, right? Plus, since when stutter is a problem, right? So, if you're trying to be a podcaster, if you're trying to be a YouTuber, please be a podcaster. Please be a YouTuber. Okay? Please do not judge yourself. People do not judge you, at least decent people, right? People who matter don't judge you, and people who judge you don't matter. Okay? So do it. Start now. Stand up. Stand up against the problem you have, or else the problem will crush you. Either you crush that problem or that problem will crush you. Okay? The world is a harsh place. Okay? I need you to stand up and tell yourself, I'm going to do it. Not I can do it. I can do it is for the weak. It's for people who are doubtful of themselves. No. We don't live in a world where I can do it, will cut it. It won't. I will do it. And here's my plan, right? So back in the day, we heard that someone said, I have a dream, right? And I love people who say I have a dream, but I am in love with people who say I have a plan. Think about it, right? Think about it. Now, if you have a book idea, left-hand corner of the screen, any or some. If you have an idea, but you want to mix it with AI, especially if you're in the African region of the world, middle of the screen, African AI auntie. If you want to become a podcaster, right-hand side of the screen, please. Right? So go to Zara Camp. If you want to learn about sales and email marketing, go to Susan. Bottom left-hand side of the screen. And if you need advice on what kind of podcast is suitable for your business, please come to me. I will give you advice. And I may or may not charge you, but I will show you the way. This week, we talked about a business in a part of in a region in the UK, right? And what we're going to do for them is because they have a cafe, right? What we're going to do for them is we're going to create their music and we're going to create a podcast for them. And they have an audio system. If you have a cafe, if you have a restaurant, come to us. We will create a podcast for you. Why should your customers, the customers are in your space already, right? Imagine that. Why should your customers listen to someone else's songs and not your own? What do you think, Chiedza?
Well, it's like a relationship, right? I mean, if you want people to know you, they need to hear from you, communicate with you, find ways to actually have interactions with you. Most of my most meaningful relationships on LinkedIn is because I had a virtual coffee with them, whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago, planting that seed. I didn't speak to you until 2 weeks ago, but I sent you messages a year and a half ago. Right. But I'd made some contact and gave you some meaningfulness of appreciating you. And so it was easy to just pick up where we left off. So I call it being a farmer. Whenever you interact with anyone on LinkedIn or even in real life, just leave something positive with them so that when they remember you, they're like, oh, I remember that woman. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
You are on this book.
Yes.
You are on the board of the authors of this book. Right?
Yes.
Even though we didn't have a working relationship before, right? I bought your book.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you believe in people, but you don't have a personal relationship with them. Okay. Not a working relationship with them. It doesn't mean you don't believe in them. It just means that the universe hasn't created the opportunity for collaboration, right? So the admiration was there, but the collaboration wasn't there. Now we have both under the same umbrella. Admiration for your work, and that's why we are promoting you. And those of you who haven't purchased this book, Lessons We Learned from COVID-19, there are a lot of hidden aspects of COVID that you haven't learned about yet. Please go for this book. I love this book, especially your chapter, Chiedza. And your chapter as well, Annie. Your chapter is good as well. Now, if you as I was saying, so we talked to that cafe owner, and we discussed the idea with him, and we explained your customers are sat there drinking coffee. Just create a podcast, and play it on the overhead speakers on your the ones in the ceiling. So from now on, what the customers will hear is the conversations. Like it's like a radio, but the difference is it's not the outside radio, traditional radio anymore. So if you're a business, you need to be in your customer's head at all time. Why? Because of that top of the mind principle, right? You want to be in their head at all times, right? So I any old song is constantly in our podcast. We are always in his podcasts. Why? Because you keep your friends around you, right? So when you need something, who do you go to first? Strangers or the people you know and trust? Of course, the people you know and trust. Now, those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you so much for doing that, right? I will go through those and those names. And if your business is something that we need, we will come to you, right? And you will be on our priority.
Yeah.
So this is what Zara is saying. He's one of my LinkedIn friends. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on your target audience. Unless your target audience is also ignoring you, then maybe it's time to focus on snacks. Zara, you're fantastic.
Hello.
So, hello, Zara. Hello, Zara. Zara Ijaz is one of my friends on LinkedIn. You made my day, Zara. Thank you so much. So, now, we're going to finish on a few words by my co-pilot and a collaborative director. Zara, you've been really super quiet today. Are you okay?
There's been spiders running around my house today. Chiedza, they've been coming. Anyways, right, let's forget about spiders. No, but it's been a great honor, Chiedza, to have you on Spotlight to share with you the journey that you started with us. And it's incredible to be a part of your growth and to see your launches. And we are so excited for Saturday. It's remarkable to be able to be part of someone who sees a vision in many. And I don't know what more to say other than, when we call someone auntie in Africa, it has a lot to it.
Yeah.
I call Annie Uncle Annie. I met Uncle Annie through a coffee meet, right, Annie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not called a discovery call, it was a coffee meet. But no, it's been an honor to have
a coffee chat.
a coffee chat. Yes, a coffee chat. Because of the positive thing that you do. Now, every single individual that you meet, when you have your own podcast, you get the opportunity to speak to an individual in a mannerism that warms their heart and warms yours. So, as you know, Cyrus, podcasters collect people like they collect, how can I put it? Give me a word, Cyrus. Like they collect books.
Valuables.
We collect books. Valuables, yes, books.
Yeah.
So every single individual we speak to as podcasters gives us an opportunity to communicate. Like you said earlier on, Cyrus, with the coffee guy in Kettering. Uncle Zarar, stop. I'll call you Uncle too.
Uncle Zarar.
Uncle Zarar too. Like, for example, today we've had with us Susan, who's been, very patient and very quiet. Can we give her around a minute or so to speak about where she sees herself and why? Because Susan, earlier on, you said podcasting is not something you'd want to do, but for what reason? Why do you not think so? That's my question to you. Because you would be really good at it. Your heart is very warming, Susan. Very warming. When you spoke earlier, there's something there, so why not?
Well,
Susan, can you hear us?
No, you need to unmute it.
If
Yes.
Susan, you need to
I'm
unmute. Unmute.
um okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes. Please go ahead.
I think I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
We can hear you.
My network is really bad.
Oh, okay. So Susan, when you
It's okay. So, Zara.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Zara.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, okay. So
What happened?
I think it's the net sometimes in Nigeria and in Ghana. The reason Chiedza we had Susan on is because she came to me with the problem of, you know, she's got all this skill and all this ability, but every time she tried to apply for jobs, the problem was her accent, or the problem was her Wi-Fi, or the problem was that, you know, it's very difficult for people in Nigeria, especially when you have the dream to be able to, you want to do something with your life because you've invested so much in it. And I said the best thing to do was for her to come and see how you spoke today. Now, with what you're doing, you are influencing a lot of African, you know, graduates, because you'll see them on LinkedIn. Hi, Zarar. You see them on LinkedIn, Chidzaya, and you wonder sometimes, you know, that they're very creative, right? And some of them are with me on TikTok, and you'll see that they're selling glasses, and, you know, they're selling peanuts, or they're selling secondhand clothes. Now, to see someone like you speak about being able to help them come out of that gives them that the hope. And the reason that people like Suzanne came on and admired your work so much is because you give people hope. How do you think one can find hope in a situation when they're like that if they never hear anybody speak? That's my question to you, Chidzaya.
Well, it's up to the individual to seek it out. You can't shove it down people's throats. You can't force them. It has to be within them that they want to learn, that they want to seek information. And there are ways of accessing people even offline. It doesn't have to be people online all the time, because I know in a lot of contexts, we're trying to make 5G, whereas most play contexts only have 2G. So a lot of what I keep hearing from a lot of creators and innovators that I've been following and even speaking to is that create your stuff online, but have it accessible offline. That's how people are able to continue the conversations. And there's so many creative ways that people are doing it. They're even creating AI modules of translating different things into chewable bites, but using local languages. I know there's this young man who's did it with 4 languages in Nigeria, including Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and another one I think it was. I know in Zambia, these youngsters have actually created an AI robot that speaks Chinyanja. So
Oh, wow.
it's just demonstrating that whatever the problems and obstacles are, there's still a huge force that's fighting against that and saying, we're here, see us, this is what we can do. So as much as people say, oh, got all these challenges, things like that, life is full of challenges. Whether you're in the United States or in Colombia or if you're in Zimbabwe, you always have challenges. The thing that was instilled within me since I was a young age was you have the power to change your life. Nobody is really stopping you except yourself, because they say 98% of our success is between our 2 ears. So how we think about ourselves and how we think about our environment, you can have 2 people in the same environment. One skyrockets to success, the other one digs a hole, right? So that's so for me, it all comes down to your attitude, right? Okay, this is the cards I've been dealt. How can I be resourceful? Who can I turn to help me? Because as we always saying, you need a team around you, and you can find those people. And even who was it who said yesterday? Was it Sean? He said the best thing you can do to start a relationship with someone is to ask them for something. I was like, huh? Even for me, where I was like, I don't want to bid in people. I don't want to be, but if you think about it, the more you ask people to invest in you, the more you open up to see yourself in ways that you never knew were possible. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. That's all we have time for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on another wonderful episode of Spotlight by whisperboy.com. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. Tonight, we had the pleasure of spending time with and learning from Zara Camp, the Whisper Boys collaborative director, and also the CEO of zarapod.com. Chietza, the African AI auntie, the famous African AI auntie. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us, and we look forward to watching your launch day
Saturday.
on Saturday, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Any Osong, the CEO of, and he's a publisher and the CEO of Global.media. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and sharing your knowledge with us. And guys, if you want to say goodbye,
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Good evening, good night. Bye, everyone.
See you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.